best and worst of the Chicago Bears schedule. I will start with my best because even though we've known this was coming, it is now official. We have our date. We can book our flights. We can make our arrangements, and we can all go to truefantravel.com and start to plan ahead to our giant party in London because it is now official. The Bears will play the Jaguars October 13th in London. This trip was, we've talked about it a ton on this show, was so much fun back in 2019, even though the Bears lost. We will give those predictions on how we think this game is going to go this time as we get through this show. But I'm just excited to get out there in London. I can't wait to do this with Bears fans because we had some meet and greets. We had some fun last time, but to actually go on a trip from start to finish with Bears fans in truefantravel.com is really, really exciting. So we've been telling you for weeks now, you can get your deposits, you can put them down, but now you can go ahead and book this whole thing. The prices are now on the website, truefantravel.com. Find the CHGO road trip to London graphic right there. It's been updated with the dates, the prices, the whole thing. It's all inclusive. You can customize your package if you need a flight. Some of you don't. We get that. You're already in Europe or you're coming from elsewhere. Whatever, you can do all that and get it locked in. Right now, we are ready to go and we are excited. So, guys, that is my best of this, quite frankly, weird Bears schedule, which gets to my worst. The home game, I'm going to call it chunkiness, where you got 2 home games in a row, and then you're not home for over a month. And then you got 2 games in a row at home, and then you're gone for a while again. I mean, this whole thing is just really weird. There's a bunch of different angles to break this down, but it's gonna be, I don't know. We'll continue to talk about it, but it's just a weird, chunky schedule is what I'm gonna call it. And it is there on your screen. I should probably read it off for everybody who's listening to this podcast. But the Bears open up week 1 against the Titans at home. Then they go on the road for 2 straight games. Titans, Colts. So right there, you just play the AFC South for 3 straight weeks to start the season. Mm-hmm. That's a chunk. Then you come back home. You get 2 games in a row, Rams, Panthers. Then you go to London. You have your bye week. Then you come home for 2 games. Then you go back on the road for 2 games. So that's that chunk I was just talking about. Between London, a bye, and 2 road games, the Bears don't play at home from October 6th until November 10th. Which is really weird. So then they have 3 home games in a row. Then they go on the road for 3 games in a row, and it's just weird, guys. I don't love that part of it.
First of all, welcome back, Hogue. It's great to see you. Second of all, I think you've just been thirsty to podcast with us. You've never talked that much to start the show ever. This is a level of excitement.
You guys already did a show today. We don't need to say hi. We just need to get into our best and worst of the schedule. They were waiting long enough.
They were. And
now I'm itching to hear your best of the schedule.
Well, but see, for me, the best of the schedule is almost the best was to hear you, and that started.
There we go.
But let me go into my best as look. For me, it's pretty obvious. You have week 11, week 12, week 13. They make you wait until week 11 to play a division game. And at least we get to do it with the Packers at home. So that's sweet. Then we followed up with the Vikings. Bring it on, Minnesota. And then you get the capper on Thanksgiving Day. Here you go, Detroit. So it's really like you have the first 10 weeks. Let's get set. Let's get Caleb going. All right. And now let's go into the division and see where we are at. That is going to be an unbelievable stretch. I'm looking forward to it right now. I'll be looking forward to it then. So, hopefully, obviously, the Bears will be in a very good position right there. My worst is, old school Carm. I like noon games, and I thought there was going to be more prime time, but we're all over the place. We got Thursday night. We got Thanksgiving. We got Monday night. We got London, which I'm going to love. We got Sunday night. Old school, Mark Carm, I like my noon kickoffs, so I would have liked to have had more of them. But the schedule, to your point, Hogue, is weird. It's you're not playing a division game week 11. That's weird, and it'll be a super huge challenge for the Bears at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think everyone's looking at the end of the season like it's going to make or break the Bears season. But my best, actually, I'm going to change on the fly here, is actually week 1 against the Tennessee Titans for Caleb Williams. I'm calling it a soft landing spot for him to kind of go into facing the 4th team in the AFC South, a team that has Will Levis at quarterback. Have they had some upgrades on the team? They bring in Calvin Ridley. They lose their leading tackle at the linebacker position. So I'm looking at that game as very winnable for what the Bears can do and to kind of start off Caleb Williams right. And usually we see that week 1, it's what Bears Packers. And if that game goes how it usually has gone, it's usually a devastating blow for Bears fans. So I think the best case scenario is given the Tennessee Titans at Soldier Field to let Caleb Williams and company get off right and hopefully get away with a victory. My worst is from week 15, you guys, to week 17. The Bears play 3 games in 10 days. And, that is a tough stretch for any football team, doesn't matter how prepared you are, how many games you've won, but to go from the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football on December 16th to then follow that with a home game against the Lions, and then you have Thursday Night Football against Seattle Seahawks. That's tough. Like, I get it. You play 2 divisional opponents in those first 2 games, but then to have Seattle there just 4 days after hosting the Lions, like, that's not easy. So that last stretch right there is going to be really crucial for the Bears season, but I'm going to take that as my worst.
Yeah, I mean, there's some ebbs and flows. Certainly the clunkiness, I agree, Hogue, is probably the best way to term this schedule. So there's a lot of things I can pick apart that I'm not in love with it. But my best, what is the thing that we all want as the goal for the Bears at the end of the year? We said it last year and we say it again this year, to be in the hunt. So if they are to be in the hunt at the end of the year, my best has to be that Seattle game. Because while it isn't ideal that it's a Thursday night game coming off 2 divisional games, Nick, you do now get 10 games, 10 days to lead up and prepare for Green Bay. So if they handle their business early on and set the table, maybe you have some ups and downs in the middle of the year with some tough scheduling. But if you get to the end of the year and that second to last week of the season, you go into the final week of the year in the hunt, you get 10 days to prepare for the Green Bay Packers. So I like that a lot, how that sets up for them. So that's got to be my best. My worst, your best was Tennessee, Nick. My worst is Tennessee week 1. I understand that if you had to rank, I mean, when we were ranking last week, the games that are most likely to be the week 1 opponent, I think Tennessee might have been 17th of 17 games to be my week 1 opponent. And that's fine. The Bears should win that game. We're way away from, any kind of week 1 prognostications to be saying that, but at the same time, they got to win that football game. This is one of the more beatable teams on their schedule. So, okay, cool. Get Caleb Williams off the ground running. I'm all for that. Let's get the win. But at 12 o'clock, Tennessee matchup, after all this hype around who they were going to play, maybe it's on primetime against the Lions. Maybe it's the Texans in primetime. Now you do get it in week 2, so it is still early in the year. But your home opener, Caleb Williams' debut at Soldier Field, is a noon slate against Tennessee. It's like, it just, for me, it kind of took the air a little bit out of the hype that I had of who we were going to play and who Caleb Williams was going to, show up and show the world who he is week 1. But hey, again, all for the Bears coming out to a hot start. And I do like how the schedule lays out from week 1 all the way to the London game, which I'm sure obviously we'll get into.
Yeah, guys, I'm just going to say it. This schedule stinks.
We all silly like the mayor.